Starglider is a 1986 game by Argonaut, developed by Jez San, you know, of Star Fox fame. And it's a 3D wireframe graphic shooter. And we're starting off on the ST, where the game originated. Jez San had a love of the Star Wars computer game, or the arcade game rather. And, well, you'll see plenty of references to it in this. The game was published by Rainbird, and we're over to the Amiga version, and came with a novel written by James Follett, famous for his TV and radio work as well as his novels, and most notable for the absolutely dreadful episode of Blake's 7 Star Drive. You're fighting the Egrons in this game on the planet of Novia. And basically the plot of the game basically means that their enemy battleships look like giant birds. That's all you need to know. Plays on my A1200, which even with all the caching turned off, is far too fast. Later on in the review, I'll show you running it at A500 speed, because my A600 refuses to load the game. Absolutely refuses. There's a Starglider. You can shoot them out of the sky with a missile, or it takes about 10 hits with a laser to blow them up. There you go. And this game gets far too fast on the Amiga here. So the A1200, even though all the caching is turned off, far too fast, can only really be played at A500 speed, and you're going to need an older machine to be able to run at A600. My version, just as I say, crashes out on loading.
Energy low.
Here we are running the PC version on my Amstrad PC2086 with the V30 processor, the upgrade I put in myself quite a while ago. So a little bit faster than an 8086. CGA only, it is 1986 of course. You can, however, change the colours of the game and change the palette. And here we go. And that is your base there. That's your, you can go in that chunk of cheese there, that wedge of cheese, get your energy topped up and get some more missiles. You can only carry one missile at a time, although there are upgrades in the game that let you carry 2 missiles. Basically, despite the there's a Starglider there. Despite there's a bit different colours in some of the versions, everything is basically there to be shot. Absolutely everything. There's some missiles going past, and there's my base. Oh, that's not my base down there. There's a thing that looks like a base that isn't a base that shoots out these vector rockets at you. I mean, this is the pinnacle of vector gaming on home computers, in my opinion. And there's a thing from Star Wars, the AT-AT things, that, what are they called, ATs? I'm not a Star Wars fan. Those things with the legs that walk along. Except they're not, for copyright reasons, clearly. They're clearly not that. And basically, on most of these versions, the aim is to survive as long as possible. You've got energy levels you've got to maintain as well. We're over to the Spectrum version, running initially on the 48K Plus here. Spectrum version extremely highly regarded. Extremely highly regarded. Much more so than any of the other versions. And hopefully you're going to see why. This game costs £5 more than a traditional game as well. £15 for the cassette version. So obviously it's not going to run as fast as the PC version, but you do get the vectors are a nice lots of different colours the game's got. And there's no sign of any colour clash at all with the vectors. It keeps that kind of stuff to a minimum. And this is how we dock. And I got it wrong there. Now, there's two... Like Elite, the docking is challenging because it's not just a question of lining up in this case. In Elite, you have to rotate, of course, as well. On Starglider, you have to make sure the lines on the base wedge thing are open enough for you to go through. That's easier said than done. I'm going to give this another go as we circle around. Speed-wise, I find the Spectrum version absolutely perfect, having played all these versions. Right, okay, your base rotates the entire time for reasons best known to itself to make it more difficult to dock. So I'm going to wait here for it to rotate around again. Right, and you're going to watch out for things that are going to shoot at you as well. The enemy tank thing, the other side, will rotate around and start launching things at me, no doubt. Oh, I'm a bit too close. Bit close. Back off. There's a Starglider going past. And in we go. Got it wrong again. Oh, no, I got it right. In we go. Docking complete, lasers and shields replenished, missile loaded. And you can have all the enemies explain to you in here what is what. This is a pyramid mine, you've got proximity mines, tells you what all the different... Here's a walker. It walks along, got to shoot those. You can't destroy them with lasers, the walkers. Energy towers, but the secret is to shoot the top off the single tower in order to refuel. That's a Starglider drone. And we've got the different enemies here. This is the land forces there. They fire missiles at you. And then you've got the neutron missile. And you'll see those flying around as well. All different colours. Again, it's real-time systems, I think, did the port of the Spectrum version. Should probably check my notes. But it's so well done. It's so well done. With the colour and the speed of it. A Lotus Starfighter there. And Trio Launcher right there. They're very dense. They launch multiple missiles at you. Which you have to avoid. And the 48K and the 128K versions on the Spectrum are different. And I'll show you the 128K version in a minute. The 48K version is the same as all the other versions. The PC, Amiga, Spectrum, CPC and C64. And the 128K version is different from all the other versions. So the Spectrum 128K version. Nice RGB goodness, obviously. And some 128K music. And you'll also be getting some speech as well. And what you can have, you can define whether you want your sights to stay in the middle of the screen all the time, or you want sights to move around and then move the craft as well when they get to the edge. It's difficult to explain.
Missile launched.
So when you launch a missile on the Spectrum version, it didn't quite work. You get some speech. Don't know what happened there. It hit something. We go to dock on the Spectrum Plus version, 128K version.
Docking complete.
But there are more differences than just speech on the Spectrum 128K version, but we'll show that a little bit later on because we're going to the Amstrad version. It looks very similar to the Spectrum version, marginally slower. And that's Starglider 1. If a Starglider flashes in any of these versions, it's the main kind of Starglider enemy, and it will take quite a bit of effort to destroy it. A missile in just the right place. Oh, I don't think did that work? I don't know if that worked. The Amstrad has a little bit more spot colour than the Spectrum. Some of the enemies have two colours rather than one. And that's a normal Starglider over there. It's just one colour. And they're just flying around. And the aim of the game, it gets harder as it goes on. But it's just to survive, basically. Destroy as much as you can. See, that tank has got little red aerials on it. And those lines there are power lines. You can use those to refuel. But not like that. There's a certain way to do it. C64 version. And it's lower resolution than the Spectrum and Amstrad versions. It's also slower. The C64 magazines enjoyed this game at the time, giving it good reviews. I find it a little bit slower than the other versions, and the draw distances are particularly bad, to be honest. Things are suddenly appear in the middle distance. A draw distance is a problem with Starglider on all the versions, even the 16 bits, but the C64 version just seems to be slightly worse, with things just appearing almost when you're on top of them like that there, just that green thing. And with the lack of resolution as well, it doesn't really help discerning what they are. You do get a status display showing you what is around you, and you've got your energy bars as well. There's a Starglider there, and it really has slowed down on the C64 to, yeah, no sense of urgency here at all. As the 64 struggles to keep up with this while it's got a Starglider and a walker in view at the same time. There you go, right at the backside, that should have got him. And he's destroyed. It's ostensibly the same game on the 64, but you can see why C64 owners don't really laud this in the way the Spectrum owners do. Back on the ST. And the ST has a mouse-only control system, which I find really, really irritating. Other versions all allow joystick or even keyboard, but here on the ST, I'm just finding it just too difficult. In some ways it's good, but in other ways, I mean, not even the speed controls are on the keyboard, so you're doing so much with the mouse, and it's a little bit too twitchy. I prefer to be using a joystick to play a game like this, and there simply doesn't appear to be any option to do that. The speed on the ST it's rather good, and when you launch missiles on the 16-bit versions, ST and Amiga anyway, the missile will spin round at the start, and they are a little bit harder to aim because the speed. Why I didn't hit that, I don't know, but I intended to hit the Starglider. PC version. Just about the optimum speed in this V30 processor, although you can see draw distance is still a bit of an issue with the Starglider there appearing and vanishing in, yeah, just a little bit too close. No need for that. Although I don't frankly know where that Starglider has gone. Missiles run on a timer. And when you get super missiles as well, they run on a longer timer. Back on the Spectrum, we're going to try and refuel using the power lines. So the first thing you have to do is shoot the top off the single tower. Of the power line going to grid. You see the power line's going the colour bit there. So the yellow bit I'm trying to shoot. Once I've done that, and I haven't yet, there we go, I've done that now. What you now need to do is go down the other end and fly through the twin towers at the end, low down, and when you do that and you accelerate at the same time, it's quite complicated, you start to gain energy. Watch out though, because power lines attract enemies. And that one guy there's firing missiles at me. So when you're going to line up and do this, you want to knock out as many enemies in the vicinity as you can. And don't hang around too long, because everyone and their mate will turn up and start trying to destroy you. So I'm going to go around here. And notice you've got coordinates as well, down the bottom and up the top. And that's important for the Spectrum 128K version. So we go through. Oh, no, a Starglider. Oh, no, he's disappeared. If I got this right. There we go. Right, energy cells refueling. My energy level is going up. But watch that walker on the right and watch everyone trying to shoot you. And really, that's for a quick bit of refueling when you're mid-battle, basically. Your best way of refueling is to go back to one of your bases. And I mentioned about those coordinates. Note down coordinates of where things are. Especially on the 128K Spectrum here, because the 128K Spectrum version... Oh, missile view. Gonna shoot him. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I get him? Oh, he's a big Starglider. He's a main Starglider. So on the 128K Spectrum, you'll be flying along and suddenly it will come up urgent. Report to the nearest depot to be given a mission. Yes, the Spectrum 128K version is enhanced. So we go to our depot, which we noted down the location of. And we're going to get a mission briefing. Military Archive Services report they've located obsolete rear view scanning system for your model of AGRD. Suggest retrieval. Target is at 8107 and there's a view of what we're got to find. And that will give our craft extra facilities.
Docking complete.
So off we go, 8107. And there was a bearing as well, which I didn't note, but off we go. And there we go, we found it. All we're going to do is touch it. Congratulations, mission complete. And now we should have a rear view on the camera. There we go, rear view. Which is really useful. And there's missions to retrieve super missiles and extra energy pods. And here's another mission. We've got to destroy an ammunition dump.
Docking complete.
And off we go to destroy the ammunition dump. And I think it might be quite close by. The locations are at random. There's my rear view there. Oh. Yeah, I think this ammunition dump's going to be quite close by. 81. Yeah. Watch out for the mines just explode. I am cheating on the +2 version, by the way. There we go. That was an 81. Is this the right one? I don't think this is the right one. Manoeuvre myself around. I don't think the location's the right here, but I'm going to destroy this thing anyway. No, coordinates don't seem right, but hey ho, let's destroy it. Congratulations, mission complete. I've destroyed it. And here we go with Starglider 1 again, just a missile launching at it. And you do get a bit of colour clash around that target there. And you get an action replay if you use a super missile on the +2 128K version. Look at that! Look at that! And that's a super missile, and you get that when you complete a mission. No, I haven't shown much of the ST and Amiga versions because I find the ST version frustrating and the Amiga version wasn't running at the correct speed. But we're going to break with tradition here on ChinnyVision because I can't get this game working on my A600. People are giving me all sorts of tips. They said take the memory expansion out. It just isn't playing ball. So I've booted up WinUAE, which is a horrific Amiga emulator that sucks the fun out of gaming. They can quote me on that. Fiddly, annoying. Anyway, booted it up, and this is Starglider running at the correct speed. Emulation. It's so good. But at least we can see the game running. It's slightly slow in the ST version, but I still think the pacing is just a little bit too fast. The advantage, of course, is you can play with a joystick. Again, sorry for the emulation, but the only way I could show the Amiga version at the correct speed. Starglider, it's a bit of a forgotten game on the 16 bits because, of course, Starglider 2 and other games came after it, games like Carrier Command that did this kind of thing in a far more polished manner. On the 64, a little bit too slow, and again, that's why it's a forgotten game. However, the Spectrum and Amstrad versions, especially that Spectrum 128K version, are utterly amazing. Fast vector graphics on your home micro, free roaming round. Once you've played that Spectrum 128K version, you won't want to play anything else. I've lost so much time to this game. Just suddenly realised that you've captured 45 minutes just flying around, blasting things out of the sky. And the thing about the Spectrum version is the pacing of it is exactly right, and being able to play it on a joystick as well. The ST version is technically impressive for the time, but lack of joystick controls, just playing it on a mouse, doesn't feel very nice. Whereas the Spectrum version, you really do feel like a fighter pilot in Star Wars, flying around this 3D landscape. Of course, Starglider 2 did come out on the Spectrum as well, and we'll look at that on another day. But overall, what was an impressive game on all the platforms back in the day still remains an impressive and fun game on the Spectrum and Amstrad. And that 128K Spectrum version, I think, is still something pretty special.